let's wait for the camera to come up. And yes, it is up. Yep, it is up. And mhm. So yeah, with that, good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you are watching us from. Good morning and welcome to Upskilling 5 Million African Freelancers in 5 years. That is the general theme topic that we're dealing with. Upskilling 5 million African freelancers in 5 years. That is the goal. That's what we are focused on. My name is Oge Mark. I am the coordinator for today, and this is powered by Source in Business. Source in Business is a platform that connects freelancers and entrepreneurs and connectors together. It also serves as a mentorship platform where those who are interested in pursuing a career in freelancing and remote work can get on, get trained, get mentored, get tutored, and then key into the freelance remote work system. All right. And yes, our topic for today is Foundation for a Productive Young African. Foundation for Productive Young Africans. And we have an interesting guest today that will be talking to us today. So good morning and welcome. Wherever it is that you're watching us from, don't forget you can share the link on your contact list so that every other person knows exactly what's going on. And don't forget that the mentorship program is absolutely free. You do not have to pay a dime to be registered or to get on board. It is absolutely free. The tutoring, the mentorship sessions, and the programs are absolutely free. All right. So do connect, and we are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. So just connect with us and just share the link and let everyone who is on your contact list join in. Let them know exactly what is going on this side of the world. Okay. All right. Good morning and welcome. All right. Good morning and welcome and welcome, 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 welcome. It is Upskilling 5 million African freelancers in 5 years. That is the goal. And that is the goal. Let us know where you're watching us from. Okay. Let us know where you are watching us from. Let us know where you are connecting with us from. All right. Either we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're also on LinkedIn. Join in the conversations. And yes, if you have any questions, drop your questions in the comment section and I'll be asking the prof, our guest today, your questions. Okay. All right. So, like I said before, we have an interesting guest today who is a professor, and he is Professor Christian Daniel Jacobs. All right. He is an international academic researcher. He's also a scholar, and quite interestingly, he's also a registered educational psychologist with the Health Professions Council of South Africa. All right. Good morning, Prof. You're welcome to Upskilling 5 million African freelancers in 5 years. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Mark. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to join you in let's say, a brief discussion, an open
Mhm.
discussion on a theme that you've formulated. And, listening to your theme, with your permission, I'm going to reformulate it a little bit in another perspective so that it can have practical application for our
Okay.
young viewers. I think it's very
Okay.
important because, we are busy with the generation Z, the generation Y, the millenniums. I'm representing, can you believe it, the gray generation or the silent generation. So we
Mm.
want to cross that barrier that what we are talking about is applicable and a reality for all of our prospective and even present freelancers that I can make the best out of the session. I see Mr. Femi Johnson also joined. I can see him. Mr. Johnson, from my side, before I kick off, congratulations with a very innovative venture to bring freelancing to 5 million young Africans.
Thank you, Prof.
Isn't that wow?
Thank you so much.
You
Good
and
morning, sir.
you and Miss Mark, you must really receive a reward this year for what you have been doing. It's excellent. But let me rephrase, with your permission, what I thought I really would like to talk about, and you are open to ask me questions. Because Socrates said, if you want a discussion to move forward, you must continuously ask the why question. So we have to ask why. Why freelancing? Why entrepreneurship? Why mentorship? Why opportunities for African youth? And I know that a number of our African youth, South Africa and especially in Nigeria, are suffering to get a job. And this freelancing, I see it, you can link freelancing with entrepreneurship, because eventually you must have to be a successful, effective freelancer. You must also showcase the characteristics of an entrepreneur: taking risk, innovation, creativity. You must not underestimate, Ms. Mark, the role of creativity and innovation in freelancing. We don't want people just to follow recipes. We want them. Ben Carson said in his book, think big. Think outside the box, the old cliche of thinking outside the box. We have in our mentorship sessions, and Ms. Mark, you forgot to mention that I'm also a mentor on this free mentorship program. Isn't that true,
Oh yes,
Mr.
I was getting to that. I was getting to
Will
that.
you get to
I was going to
okay.
ask you your
Okay,
journey
so
and
let me give you the theme and you can add on. I think that we must talk about how to create a foundation or platform for young Africans to become productive freelancers. Let us be more specific. The platform is going to be quite complicated. You are providing the platform, but it will be a online platform. Isn't that true? It's going to
yeah,
be online. And
yes.
we must keep in mind costs. We must keep in mind the power supply, especially in Nigeria, Mr. Johnson. I think you are proud that NEPA must not take power today. Then you have to go over on generator. Those are small little things that can become quite complicated. But with your innovation, resources are limited, but your innovation creativity will not be limited. So thank you so much and welcome to our viewers. I see there are 50 viewers already, and you said that they must ask questions if they want questions, if they want to set questions. Thank you.
Yes, don't forget you can ask your questions. You can direct your just drop your questions in the comment section, and we'll ask Prof Jacobs to answer them. So I see you, Ajayi Oluwamayowa. Good morning from Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Kareem Adikpoju from Scotland. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you too. I also see you, Abdulaziz. Yes, Abdulaziz. Yeah. Yeah, Akindele from Nigeria. Good morning to you too. Thank you for joining us. Sunday, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Dorothy, I see you. Appreciate you for joining us today. Anthony, thank you and good morning. Oluwatayo, good morning to you. Tunde, I see you. Francis Onoja, good morning. And of course, Miko Risan, thank you so much from Malaysia. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, Prof. Jacob, we're going to go straight into the questions we got lined up for you today. in the world that we live right now, this new normal is remote work and freelancing has been the top of mind. A lot of people would opt for remote work. They would rather be freelance. They would rather work from home. It's a new normal, and a lot of organizations and establishments are coming to the realization that remote work is what it is. Now, all over the world, especially post-COVID, all over the world, that is what everyone has literally been. It's like a bandwagon. Everyone is jumping on it. Now, do you think that Africans, how would you rate Africa's participation in this new normal, known as remote work, also known as freelancing? How would you rate Africa's participation?
Ms. Mark, thank you so much. I think it is, it sounds like a very easy question that you are asking, but it's a very complicated question. So I want to be very brief. And what Professor Wally Soyinka always said, we must not mix arguments. We must define what we want to know. What is remote work? I think before COVID-19, remote work or the new normal was not really on our agenda as workers. And I've written an article on LinkedIn on remote work. And if our viewers are interested, they can have a look at the article. I think it's quite interesting. Remote work, if I can define it, is not only sitting and working remotely from a position anywhere in the world that I was saying. It's not so easy, but most people think that remote work will be from your home, where you can sit and you work. But remember, especially our freelancers have not really been trained to work from home. The technological side, the presentation skills, the loneliness of working remote, not seeing people, maybe sitting in your study or in your room or on your veranda or in your parlor. So I do think is that people, and especially young Africans, they've heard about the concept. I do believe it will also be one of our training points as mentors to mentor our freelancers how to work remotely. What does it mean? The psychological side, the physical side, the technology side, how to work remotely, successfully, effectively. I do think keeping all the blocks in mind, and I repeat the two concepts, creativity and innovation. With our creativity, innovation, and I've got full faith in the youth of Africa, we can make it despite all the stumbling blocks. And I like the word that you said, the bandwagon. People will also talk about the flavor of the month. Everyone will jump on the bandwagon and will say, don't jump on this bandwagon because in 1 week's time, another bandwagon will pass. Technology is changing. Working from home, the concept, remote working is also changing. And you as source in business, we as mentors must be on top of our game to assist our freelancers to work remotely.
All right, Professor Jacob, thank you so much for that. Now, you mentioned when you were trying to talk to us, you mentioned something about loneliness. Now, as a psychologist, registered psychologist, I must add, do you think that the loneliness that freelancers that comes with remote work, and you did mention that they would not have access to human touch or human feeling because you're not in the regular brick and wall type of office. So, do you think that the loneliness that comes with that's associated with remote work or being freelancers can deter Africans from getting on this new normal known as remote work, and as such, hinder productivity?
Ms. Marks, yes, I think what is important is that we have to adjust. Remember, with the lockdown, we were locked down in South Africa for more than 1 year. And that created a lot of emotional, psychological problems for some people,
Mm,
not all people. So, what I'm saying is that the psychological side of working remotely, we must keep in mind. We must have a very tough, strong psychological structure so that we can cope with these changes. But it doesn't mean that in the new normal that we are sitting locked down like uh, in a jail that we cannot move out. So the freelancer working remotely will have to have a very good balance of life, work, and exercise because your mental and physical side is very important. So that's that, and that is an issue that we will also work on, talk about in the mentorship sessions. And I remember when I was locked down for such a long time. Do you know who was my only good friend?
mm,
The fridge, the refrigerator, because every
mm,
5 minutes you will stand up, go and see what food is in the refrigerator. And that was also not a very good way of dealing with working remotely, but isolation can become a problem. But nowadays, with Zoom, with cell phones, etc., you can work on that. But it is a reality. And there are studies in psychology that are saying that it is better to work amongst your peers in a work situation that we were used to. But I'm a person that can really uh, uh, promote or suggest the idea of working on your own from home, but you have to do a number of adjustments.
mm. That's great. All right, let's move on to being. I mean, you are the lead mentor on Source in Business Mentorship Program. That is great. Now, you have come across a lot of mentees who are interested or who are building a career as freelancers in the remote workspace. Now, what would you say is the what would you say are the tips you know that would require someone to have in order to be a best freelancer? What are the best tips? What are the tips needed to be an excellent freelancer?
Um, uh, Ms. Mock, there are a number of suggestions that we can put down as tips. Number one is that if you want to become a freelancer, remember in the African context, no one, not at school or at university level, anyone has been trained or mentored or during in Nigeria National Youth Service to be trained to become a freelancer. This is quite a new concept. Everyone we're talking about entrepreneurship, but freelancing is a new concept. So what I'm saying is that we have to give our prospective and present freelancers some tips, suggestions, how to become effective freelancers. And if we can have a overall view of the slide, I will appreciate that. If you can bring on the slide. What I know of the slide is that you have to prepare yourself. There are 10 amazing tips on this slide. I, I don't think it's too clear for our viewers, but we will forward it to everyone that is registered today. They can have a look at it. But I really want to take out two of the tips. Number one is that you must know your business. What do you want to do freelancing in? And that will be aligned to your training, your experience, your background. And say, for instance, someone is trained in website design. Someone is trained in technical electrical issues. Some are trained in rendering services. So what a person must first understand is that as a freelancer, you must have either a product or a service to sell. That is very important. It can be a service or slash and a product. So what is giving me the background that I can promote myself as a freelancer? You can understand the world of work, the business world. If they are looking at freelancers, they are looking at how can they satisfy their needs of the business. And in any business, if you had economics at university, it's about demand, supply, and price. So what I love about source in business, their business model is that they are training the freelancers for free that can present via your platform. They can present their products and services. And what is important is that I had a look at your website, and what was very amazing is that your prices of what you are advertising for some of your freelancers are very low. I'm not saying you must push it up, because we have to capture the market. The freelancer must capture a market. If he or she performs, gradually they will uplift their price, because it must also be aligned to their skills. We must have respect for our freelancers. They are not, and excuse my very bad words that I'm using now, they are not free labor. They are not slave labor. We had enough of that in Africa. So what we want to do is that we want to have respect for our freelancers, but they must know, Mr. Johnson, they must know what are they going to offer to the market, the product or products, the service or services, the price, the demand. They have to do, and listen to this very interesting word, they have to do market research. So before you can embark on a freelancing expedition, you have to do market research. But you must also analyze yourself, your personality, your abilities. What can you offer? Your skills, your qualifications. It is not just a trial and error exercise. It's very complicated. If it was not complicated, we would not have mentors that are willing to share their time and experience with our young freelancers. They must decide what is entrepreneurship, what is freelancing. I do think freelancing, entrepreneurship are the same side of the coin. Do you know that expression? Yes.
Yeah.
I think that we must not make it too complicated to distinguish it into compartments or into two boxes. Freelancing, entrepreneurship are integrated. Keep that in mind. We can discuss it later on. Then my second tip that I want to give is that reputation, branding, is is the name of the game. Branding is key. You have to sell yourself. And many freelancers, you can talk to them, they become discouraged because it seems that their business are not growing. It seems that people are not interested in them. And then you have to sit down scientifically, try and work out what is going wrong. And therefore, I think that we as mentors will also be available as advisors. I cannot say that it will be a 24/7 mentorship advising mechanism or system, but with the internet, it's so quickly with WhatsApp. Please, I'm having this challenge. Madam, my business is not working, my branding is not working. What must I do? So, what I'm saying is that in the mentorship sessions from my side, 10 amazing tips to become a freelancer slash entrepreneur. That is core of my mentorship program. But we will send the viewers a slide of this so that they can also see the other 8 suggestions that can help them to become effective.
Mm. Thank you so much, Professor Jacob. You mentioned talked about a lot about mentorship in the course of the previous question you were responding to. But as it stands now, that is the mentorship is literally the bone of freelancing and remote work, and especially with sourcing business having the platform where those who are interested in building a career in freelancing remote work can have access to mentors who can lead them by the hand and make sure they build a successful career. Now, you also mentioned that some businesses do not. We won't go into that later on. But as it stands now, what are the what would you say? How do we build a sustained mentorship system? You know, under this system, how do we build a sustainable mentorship system such that after the mentees then turn out to mentor other people?
Um, First things first, and we must not mix arguments. Number one is that we must not make promises. We have to over deliver and not under deliver. Promises can ruin any program. I've seen it. So we must be ethical, professional people, and source in business must live up to its promises. We have to work hard and keep on working hard to make this mentorship program exceptional. Of course, on the one side, your mentorship program as a platform foundation will be on the latest technology, state of the art technology. On the other side, It depends on serious-minded people, people
Mm.
that will have a love for what they are going to do. That includes the freelancers also. I can tell you, if we look at certain freelancers, they are going to be the success of this program. We don't, we don't want prospective freelancers that are hopping and jumping around looking for easy way out to find a job. We want
Mm.
young people that's got the courage to work hard, to become role models that can become success models. And what is important is that whatever you are doing and whatever we are doing, keeping the Poppy Act in mind, we are protecting the information and identity of all our mentees or freelancers. But what is important is that some of the freelancers will need more encouragement, more mentorship, more training than others. You know that some I've seen it. Have you ever been in Bielsa, the Ibus? Have you been in Bielsa State, Madam Mark?
Well, through the parts.
Through some of the parts. You know,
Yeah.
it's if you in the north, the land of the Ibus, you don't have to teach an Ibu to become a freelancer or entrepreneur. You know what? It's
Mm.
born in there. You've seen these young people, small boys. I remember at our schools and even at the university, you see these small outlets next to the street. Young
Mm.
boys, young girls working with their mommies and daddies from small.
Yeah.
I think they're even born in those small shops. So they are born entrepreneurs. It's not difficult for them to become freelancers, but we also have
Okay.
a high number of people that we will have to put on a mentorship program. We will have to be available if they are going to experience any difficulty.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. So as it stands now when we talk to us about freelancers, now you also mentioned previously that many of them have challenges, and some of the challenges is that the businesses aren't working. Now, when you were mentioning the tips on tips to be an excellent freelancer, you did mention branding, but on the flip side, a lot of freelancers, even having been exposed to mentors, having been tutored, having had all of these things, still, I have had many of them complain that, oh, the business isn't working or it's not growing. What would you say? What would you say is the reason for that? And how can they
Oh,
overcome that particular challenge?
well, I'm talking out of experience, and I do believe Mr. Johnson can also speak out of experience. Dr. Galip Fahad, my colleague, will also speak out of experience. Whenever, let's call it not freelancing, let's call it whenever you start with a a
Okay.
startup business.
Okay.
What what do you need if you want to start? Okay,
Okay.
you have to do market research. You must understand your product. You must
Mhm.
understand your service, your offering to the market, the price, your own skills, your staffing, your location,
Yeah.
all those issues. But do you know, Mr. Femi, do you know what is, out of my experience, the biggest challenge that any startup business, freelancer, or entrepreneur will experience is, of course, capital to
Okay.
start.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell them there are loans from Stanbic Bank, there are loans from GT Bank, there are loans from this, that.
Mm.
They cannot start because there are no angel capital, there are no venture capital. We are bringing our young people under a misconception that to start freelancing, to start a small business, to become an entrepreneur is an automatic way or a recipe to follow to become successful. If you don't have startup capital, we need capital to realize and crystallize our dreams. Therefore, I think I want to cut into another direction is that, therefore, sourcing business must really link up with the African Union.
Okay.
2 years ago, a Nigerian lady is the chairperson of African Union today. Did you know that? You have to research that. Then, secondly, is that President Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, 2 years ago was the chairperson of African Union. I do believe at one time our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, was also chairperson or president of African Union. They are doing a very good job. But what is very important is that Ramaphosa said when he exited the African Union, he said that Africa must establish a free trade zone. We have to investigate that. You have to knock on the doors of the United Nations, the World Bank. We have to look with our freelancers. And that's why, Fema, I said to you, and we are working on that. Our mentorship program will be certified. We are working on that. So that with this certified, and it's not going to be a present, the person will have to work for it, but with that certified certificate, you can go to any financial institution and say, I've been trained. Can you support me with this or that? Or to other capitalists? I think it's something that we have to discuss more in depth. So what is important, I saw that on one of the questions that came up, the person is worried about, I think he understands what's freelancing, he's got something to offer, but I can see is that finances are going to be a serious problem for him to start. And we must keep this in mind. It's something that we really have to discuss over and over. And once we are successful, you will see the energy will just be flowing. Our successes will be wonderful and great. And then 5 million youth, do you know how much is 5 million, Femi? You start counting.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So now you talked about 5 million youths, right? And now Africans, it's not exactly clear if Africans are taking advantage of remote work. I mean, that's why Source in Business is, and that's why the mentorship is in existence now. Now, what do you think, from your opinion, are the cultural revolutions that need to take place for Africans to take advantage of this new normal, the opportunities that are bound in remote work all over the world, be the hub of remote work, be the number one destination for remote work? What are these cultural revolutions that needs to happen for that to take place?
Um, uh, 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 Ms. Mark, I think this is quite a difficult question that you are asking me, but luckily you asked me for my opinion. So it can be right, it can be wrong. But
Okay.
what is very important for me is that if we talk about culture, let's talk about it in an African context. Listen what I'm saying now. Our source in business approach to freelancing, to entrepreneurship, to mentorship must follow the decolonized route. We are Africans. We are part and parcel of Africa. We have our own ways of doing things. We have our
Mm,
own culture, etc. You know what I'm talking about. So what
mm,
I would suggest is that we have also in our own market research, we also have to benchmark with best practices. What does that mean? Let's go and have a look what Taiwan is doing. Let's have a look what Malaysia is doing.
mm,
What is Indonesia doing? China. India is a powerhouse on freelancing. If you go on a Google search on the internet,
mm,
India is jumping up, and I think we can learn a lot from them. Do not
yeah.
forget the Chinese. So, what I'm saying is that a culture starts where? It starts from grassroots, it starts in the family, it starts on school level, it starts at university level, it starts at polytechnic level. I do think that we are still producing students and learners that are willing to look for a job, but creating a job, that kind of culture, we don't really have at some of our regions in Nigeria. Certain regions, I told you, those young people are very entrepreneurial, but it
Mm,
doesn't mean that they cannot improve, that they can offer
mm,
something better to the market. Let me share you one thing that we are doing from Higher Learning Africa is that we are putting in a lot of resources into the fifth industrial revolution. Why I'm mentioning this is that we are trying to establish via schools space studies as a co-curricular activity.
mm,
And I think that is quite unique in Africa. The fifth industrial revolution, the space academies as a co-curricular activity. Why I mention the fifth industrial revolution is that in the next few years, space is going to be the new frontier. It's going to create numerous job opportunities for our young freelancers in the space industry, aeronautics, etc. Mark my words. Then the other aspect is, do you remember the conference on climate change? It
okay.
was held in which country this year? Was it? Yeah, I think it was still in the beginning of the year.
Mhm. Uh,
COP, COP, COP. I think COP 20. We must just make sure. You know what came out of that? Out of that conference. It was about climate change. You know what came out of that conference? Green environments and blue environments, and also the whole issue of climate change. The green the green issues are to keep our environment green, trees, etc., pollution, whatever. The blue innovation is about keeping pollution out of our skies, and then climate change per se. All of these issues are creating wonderful new opportunities for freelancers. So I think our freelancers must think outside the box. They must really see what they want to offer that is in need in the changing world that we are entering. And you know what? Those opportunities are not only creating new jobs, but are creating an opportunity to make and to create wealth. I think that's very important.
Hmm. Thank
Because
you so much,
freelance,
Professor Jacob. All right, let's see. We have questions here. Hannah Ametepe, I hope I got that correct, from Ghana. Thank you for joining us this morning. Peace from Lagos. Thank you for joining us today. Sunday Omodayo. Good morning to you too from Lagos. Thank you. Moses, thank you. Isaiah Fainto from Bonny Island. Thank you for joining. Samson from Ogumosho. Thank you for joining us today. Elijah, thank you. Good morning to you too. Sunny from India. Thank you so much for joining us today. I saw a question a few minutes ago. Okay, so this one is coming from Miko Rusan, and he says every business needs capital to start. Even freelancing, although it might not be a big amount. Okay, Prophet Jacob, you want to respond to that?
yes, I think we just in surface talked about that. Miko,
Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with you. I'm also I share your concern. I share your stress about this issue, because to get money is not easy. Because if you go to a bank, they
Mm.
will ask you, what are you doing? And show me your last three bank statements to get a loan. But I
Yeah.
do believe, in what I've seen is that from government side, there's a lot of money coming into the whole issue of start-up businesses for young
Mm.
people, besides also referring to freelancing. So I do believe we will have to sit down with a source in business. We as mentors, advisors, discuss how can we from our side make it more easier for our freelancers to get access into capital. And like I said,
Mm.
is that our mentorship training will not just be a talk show. You can get a certificate, we will certify it, and you can go to any financial institution. We can talk with Stanbic Bank in Kigali, in Ghana, in Nigeria. How can they assist? If the one bank if they refuses, what do? We go to their competition, because life and freelancing business, it's all about competition. But we are working on this problem, and we are going to come back to you with a very solid answer and strategy.
All right. Thank you so much for
Okay.
your response.
Okay.
Now,
Can you hear
okay.
me?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to say something to what Prof was trying to say the other time
Please go
about
ahead.
how to, I mean, how with the kind of cultural revolution. You see, there are certain values that have been helping us as a continent, as Africans. There are we have two proverbs that I grew up with. The first one says that it takes a father and a mother to give birth to a child, but it takes the whole community to raise that kid. That's number one. Then another one also say that when a baby snake walks alone, it suffers. Now, what that tells us is that um, today Africa, or if I want to use Nigeria as example, today Nigeria, whereby you have such large number of young people without jobs, and a situation which has grown to a level whereby you now read in the news how young people kill their friends, their girlfriends, kill their mother with the belief that if I kill somebody, I'm not talking about armed robbery now or assassination, but I'm killing somebody to make sacrifice so he can make money. That tells us that there's a lot of damage to our cultural values as a people. Okay, so I'm just trying to second what he has said, that there should be a ground for serious collaboration to be able to refine tune our values, to be able to reorientate our young people, to be able to reassure them that the only way to make money is to work.
It's
And
hard
not
work.
only that, to also be able to provide platforms, education, knowledge to show them that you can also work, not only because there is a general belief that, oh, you like Nigerian. I grew up with the belief that, oh, there is no work in Nigeria. There is no work in Nigeria. Okay, if there is no work in Nigeria, if there are not enough jobs in Nigeria or Africa, it is not only in Africa. There are no, we don't, in India, they don't have enough jobs. They don't have enough companies. In China, they don't have enough. In Indonesia, they don't have enough. With the help of technology, we now have an opportunity to be able to work anywhere. And the good news is this: there are countries around the world that have excess jobs that they are willing and ready to give out. Let me give you another example. In Nigeria, go on the street of Nigeria, you will find more of used cars from other parts of the world than used cars from Nigeria. And the good news is that everybody will tell you all over the world that
Um,
Hello,
uh,
Kenny? Okay.
um, Miss Mark, I think,
Hello, Kenny?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I
okay,
think that
Okay.
in
while
Africa,
we are
um, we are open to excess jobs in Europe, in Australia, in America, in Asia. And the good news is that everybody will tell you all over the world that Africa has, the largest number of young people, and not just young people, skilled young people, able bodies. So what we need to do as Africans or Nigerian or all the countries in Africa is to mobilize ourselves, to sensitize ourselves, to educate ourselves, to be deliberate about what we are trying to do. Jobs are not just going to come by miracles. Employment is not going to just happen like magic. We have to mobilize. Or I can use the war in what do you call it? Um,
Ukraine.
in Ukraine as example. There was a war coming to a country by a bigger and a mightier country. And what did they do? They said women can go, old people can go, children can go, but young men, we are staying here and we are defending ourselves. So it has to do about mobilization, about being deliberate, being determined. So if we are talking about remote work, freelancing, and the issue of unemployment in Africa, we have to be deliberate. We have to go back to our roots, to our culture. What are those values that have helped us to go to farm, to do farming, to mobilize young people, to plow ground? Then there were no plows. I mean, we do it in the kind of implement, local implement, and we were very, very successful. So we need to begin to to sensitize ourselves so that we can be able to take advantage of the so-called fifth industrial revolution, because we have lost out on the first one, we've lost out on the second one, we've lost out on the third and the fourth one. And what is going on right now is that The countries of the world, like Europe and America, they are opening their doors. Forget the issue of immigration. They want Africans to come to their country. And the reason is simple. They want them to come and work in their country because it's going to empower and continue to grow their economy. And so, if we want to use common sense, which we have failed to use, in centuries, is to begin to think that with the technology we can bring the jobs down to Africa, do those jobs, be able to make good foreign exchange, and be able to empower ourselves and our future. So we have to be passionate. I'm very passionate about it. We have to be passionate. Don't do it and just say, oh, anyhow, oh, if you want to travel, or if you no, we have to make it a revolution and say, look, India did it, India is doing it, China is doing it. We can do it in Africa. We have to be deliberate. We have to be hungry about this. And do it, and sure we will succeed.
All right, Jacob, you want to say something?
Femi, I want you to calm down. I don't want you to mix arguments. I don't want you to make general remarks and observations. Let us be very specific. Professor Wally Suyinka would have loved your presentation. He will sit back and say, Femi, you are mixing arguments. Let us focus on what we want to talk about. I've listened to you and I can
okay, the connection.
Okay. Energy, being radical. Let me tell you, the culture, the fallacy in your argument is the following. Don't think we as Africans are so welcome in Europe. They see us still as labor that's cheap, like the Indians, whatever. We must not come into a talent shift, a brain drain kind of situation. Africa needs every one of us to grow Africa. Can I tell you what? America, France, Germany, Russia, China, South Africa, the UK, they are all focusing on Africa, especially on Nigeria, because Nigeria is the biggest market in Africa. It overtook South Africa. It's the biggest market. Go and see for yourself. So what we have to do is that we have to create a culture to be a proud and good Nigerian. And where does it start? On the ground level. We spoke about that. In the family. If your mommy and daddy takes you to a private school with the idea for you to get entrance into one of the top universities in the UK, America, or Canada, I've seen it with my own eyes. They don't want to return. Your freelancing, we want to keep our talent in Africa, in Nigeria. The churches must play their role. The schools must play their roles. The government must play its role. Universities, polytechnics, we must keep them accountable. We are sitting sometimes with leaders. We don't deserve those leaders. Some are great, some are not great. So democracy is the survival of Nigeria and of Africa. We cannot go into and I listened to when you were talking out of experience, we cannot move into a communistic, socialistic kind of situation that the Russians were caught up. That didn't work. That's the feeling that I've got when you were promoting, take the people to the farms, etc. Agricultural is wonderful, and we can do it with agricultural, but away from a socialistic, communistic model like in China, like in Russia, that I gave us an example that did not work. So we have to be a little bit more innovative, more creative. And we must keep our leaders accountable. And what is important is that we want to keep our young people in Africa. And this is what is important is a sourcing business must not create freelancing jobs for people to leave Nigeria or Africa. Then we're missing the point. But I love your. I want to, when we find time again, if I'm in Lagos, I want to go into a deep discussion with you and
Mm.
with Mr. Mark regarding
Mm.
culture.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much, Professor Jacob, for that one. Now, finally, before you go, the goal is to make Africa is to create a foundation for productive young Africans. Now, we live in a world where young Africans are all about the fast cash, fast life. That's all they want. Nobody wants to go through the process. Nobody wants to follow due process. Nobody wants to do the work. Now, what would you say as someone who's experienced it or who's seen people transition from one position to another? What would you say are the say three steps? The three basic foundational steps you require to make young Africans productive and even be interested in wanting to be productive.
I think number one is that we cannot get away from that. Applicable training.
Okay.
Training that is needed by society.
Okay.
So we get a lot of students leaving schools, learners leaving schools, students leaving universities that have not been trained in applicable skills that the job market is looking for. They
Mm.
will say the students are not, when they leave the universities or polytechnics, they're not employable. Then they become unemployed, they become underemployed. So you must get, even if you're a freelancer, you must have the applicable skills that the market needs. That is clear. That is number one. Let's take number two. Number two is that freelancing is also about being a human being, the passion, your belief, your values,
Mm.
and where do you get those values from the way that you've been brought up by your parents,
Mm.
your educators, your school, your university, and then the community. Femi, you said that the community is responsible to bringing up a child. It's a very basic expression in Nigeria. I know it very well. So it is about applicable skills to make you employable, either permanently with a job, freelancing, entrepreneur, a startup business, but you must have the skills, business skills,
Mhm.
life skills, and academic skills. Secondly, it's you as a person, your energy, your passion, how to be really to overcome hardships, to
Mm.
really work hard and keep working hard. Nothing is easy, nothing. And we are competing while our African youth, while they are sleeping, I tell you now, and the Indians and the Chinese will not like this, what I'm saying. They are working day and night to take our positions of our
Mm.
young people in Africa. So our young Africans must wake up. They must not
Mm.
start blaming, it's my school, it's my parents, whatever. It's also your responsibility, your accountability. Number
Mm.
three, what I can say is that to create a culture, a foundation, is to make use of what services, products, sourcing business are presenting for our young people. And I think it's amazing. And I want you to succeed. And I want our future and present freelancers to keep in mind this is an amazing project They won't find it in any other country, and we don't want to compare with other countries, but make use of source in business of what you are doing for freelancing. And from our side, Higher Learning Africa, to show that we believe in you, we are going to advertise 8 positions in Higher Learning Africa on
Yes, that's
LinkedIn.
right.
I think that if you give me the opportunity just to mention this, 8 positions, it's freelancing on a commission basis with a performance agreement, with mentorship, with training, and if these young people can be successful, can be exceptional, they can get a permanent job. That's one way of supporting what you are doing with your wonderful work. And like I said, even if Higher Learning will give you a small award for what you have been achieving, we're going to do that.
Thank you so much, Professor Jacob, for that. Thank you so much for that. And all right, Esther Akinshola said, I am glad I joined the session today. I got a good work sourcing business. Thank you so much for that. David, all right, thank you. Abu from Abuja, Osini from Abuja, and Julius. Yeah, so if you missed what Professor said earlier on, he's saying that there are openings at Higher Learning Africa for remote work. So if you're interested in starting your journey as a remote worker on freelancing basics in the educational sector, then you should head over to Higher Learning Africa. They are on LinkedIn. You can contact them on LinkedIn. And of course, there are about 8 positions, and it comes with training, mentorship, and all of that. So just go on to Higher Learning Africa on LinkedIn to get details of what the job is. Don't forget, there are about 8 positions being being opened, 8 positions opened on Higher Learning Africa. Okay, all right. And thank you so much, Professor Chris Jacobs, for honoring us with your presence this morning. It's been really informative and quite an eye opener today. Thank you so much, Professor. And we hope that, and of course, if you are yet to get on Source in Business Mentorship Program, you should get on, because Professor Jacobs is a lead mentor on the Source in Mentorship Program. So you can have direct access to him. All right. So thank you so much, Professor. Thank you. We really appreciate your presence this morning.
Ms. Mark, thank you so much. And listening to where people are coming from, especially out of Nigeria, not cutting out other people, because I know Ghana and Kigali and Rwanda very well. So, and even Tanzania, Kenya. When I listen to all the states that and cities that they were mentioning, it brought back so many memories. Even the person that joined from Bonny Island. Femi, have you been to Bonny Island? Very near Port Harcourt. Beautiful. You can only reach Bonny Island by boat. Femi, you are a very great role model for all of us, you and Ms. Mark. And I appreciate working with you. I believe in a source in business. That is why I'm willing to share my time with you. And I can hear your Aja is becoming hungry outside. He's barking.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank
I
you
really
so
do
much.
appreciate
All right,
all
so that
your
we have
support, all
come
your
to
support.
the end of today's episode of Upskilling 5 million African freelancers in 5 years. If you're just joining us, don't worry about that. You can connect with us next week, Wednesday, same time at 10 a.m. Of course, it's powered by Source in Business. Now, if you are interested in building a career in as a freelancer in remote work, whatever sector, whatever industry, they get onto sourcing business and log on. And of course, there are several, categories you can register, get trained, get tutored in a course. You will be assigned a mentor that will mentor you through, literally take you by the hand and lead you through the process so that you avoid every form of mistake. All right. And of course, I'll be back again here next week, Wednesday. All right. Do keep it with us. Don't forget to connect with us on social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and of course, on YouTube. We are at Source in Business. Okay. Thank you so much for joining and have a wonderful morning. Bye.